What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into the Delmarva Sports Insider, the only live, yes, we're still live, and local show dedicated to giving you all local sports all the time. I'm Trayvon Miles.
And I'm Drew Williams. We've got you covered for the next half hour or so with wall-to-wall coverage, sports coverage, that is, of course. Yeah,
thanks for joining us. If you are just, of course, tuning in, Game 2 of the NBA Finals just went down. Los Angeles Lakers with a big 124-114 win over the Miami Heat. They have a 2-0 lead on the series, 2 games away from an NBA championship. Drew, we know we're excited about that, and we could talk about the NBA all night, but we have to hone our focus in on what a wild week it's been here. Admittedly, not as wild as last week, but things are still evolving right now, because last Thursday, I thought personally we'd come to a great resolution regarding the return of high school sports in Maryland, and like a lot of things, turns out I was wrong. 1 week after the governor and state superintendent opened up the possibility of a fall sports season, one local school board immediately opted out. Caroline County's local school board held a vote on Wednesday. They became the first county in the Bayside Conference to elect to stay with the state's previously announced 2-semester plan, which basically states that fall sports will take place in 2021.
Yeah, Caroline Superintendent Dr. Patricia Salins added in the statement, quote, "Our focus right now remains on transitioning students into the school building and as safely as possible," end quote. Now, this is huge news because multiple sources have said that the Bayside will not move forward unless it's unified. And the latest news is that Wicomico County has followed the steps of Caroline County. They too have elected to start fall sports next calendar year. The news was first reported by Ricky Pollock of Delmarva Now. And Pollock's story, Wicomico County Superintendent Donna Honlin states, "The county's top priority is returning students to the classroom, again, as soon and as safely as possible."
Yeah, so that's now 2 Bayside counties that have passed on the fall sports return. A third, 6 out of 8 of the school's conferences are now affected by this decision. So it definitely looks like the Bayside as a whole will move forward with the 2-semester plan. It looks more and more like this will not happen. How crazy has this been just over the course of a week? It's what I've heard from multiple coaches, some local officials about the situation. When this was pushed last Thursday that schools could officially play, I immediately heard that it would not happen, at least here. One coach told me this week that the state was never prepared to play without having school kids in the actual school buildings. So I agree, it is a hard sell to many parents who don't have kids in athletics, selling them that their kids can't be in school, but athletes can come to fields and use school property. Is just a tough sell in general.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with you, Trey. This seemed like it was never really going to gain enough traction, even from the get-go. Like you said, the plans significantly changed just for saying, hey, look, go ahead and get going. And managing these situations is certainly very difficult. And you bring up a great point. It's tough to get parents on board with children who aren't in athletics. How are they going to buy into that principle? But honestly, I really get both sides of this argument. And again, you mentioned it's been a roller coaster of a week.
Yeah, and speaking of both sides of the argument, while one state is mulling over the option to play, another is already full steam ahead. Athletes in Delaware are officially back to work this high school fall sports season. Promises to be like unlike any other we've ever seen. Of course, we went up to Delmar this week to get a glimpse into what practice is like for these athletes this year. Jody Holloman and her field hockey club enter this fall in search of their 5th straight title. During practice, their players taking breaks every 15 minutes. Players told to bring their own water bottles. Everyone, of course, wearing masks throughout the practice, and everyone told to social distance while taking those breaks.
Yeah, absolutely. Those same rules apply over on the football practice field. It will certainly be interesting to see what teams are adversely affected by the lack of summer two-a-days and which teams can rise above.
15-minute breaks every now and then. Just take your mask off, breathe, and no locker room. You got to go 5 at a time, stuff like that. Just COVID rules. We've kind of jumped into it a lot faster. Last year we would probably taken 1 week for a whole thing, and now we're just taking days and doing it fast.
Now, other teams around the state may face some obstacles with the new huddle rules, but not Delmar. You see, they've been working on the no huddle for years.
Yeah, absolutely. The bigger dilemma for Delmar this season will be the leadership vacuum left after over a dozen seniors graduated from last year's club that won the Henlopen title.
We've done it in the past, so we won't really have to practice it as much. I mean, we'll still practice it, but most of us know the no huddle already, and the coaches make it really easy for us to understand the plays that are called. And then us out there on the field just have that chemistry where if someone needs help, that we're going to put them in the right place at the right time and where they need to be. If they're in the wrong spot, we're not going to let it go. We're going to fix them.
So, Drew, we're looking at almost a 180-degree turn from what we're seeing in Maryland. Despite no school, the athletes are back out there. The kids look to be having fun and look to be glad to be back around teammates and coaches. I just hope that things go well and no one gets sick over the next couple weeks so that selfishly we can get this season started.
Absolutely. Two states very close together, but so diametrically opposed.
Yes.
And talking to some people up north, they seem optimistic about getting this thing going. Let's see if we can get this rolling through the first couple of weeks, kind of figure out the process, work out the kinks.
Yeah.
I think we've got a great shot of pulling this off. You've heard some of the plans. They seem like they can work, but this is only really going to work if we can get all the coaches, players, fans, everybody on board with the procedures to work out.
Yeah, and there are a lot of procedures. One of the procedures is the referees, which we talked about.
Yep.
That is a whole nother situation
That's
we won't get to right now. We'll have some time for that in the coming weeks. A bunch to figure out. All right, we're changing gears to the college level now with all the talk of high school sports and their quest to bring athletics back. It's easy to forget what's happening in the NCAA. Yeah. While many Division I colleges are in action and we see them every Saturday, the smaller schools, well, they have to wait. That includes Salisbury University. Their fall sports season was postponed way back in August. That seems like ages ago. That'll now be played in the spring. With that being said, Thursday was the first official day of fall practices for fall sports, including football, field hockey, and volleyball, with soccer practices actually beginning on Saturday. The NCAA has put many protocols into place, but one local coach believes the school is doing their absolute best to handle it.
But we did have a great opportunity to put our kids through a 2.5 week, what we call COVID educational process that went along with obviously our athletic trainers and our strength and conditioning folks. And they did a great job. They did a great job of putting our kids in a position for us to be here today. So we're proud of that. We're here. In all my years of coaching, obviously never seen anything like this, but we're here and we're making it work.
And this spring, a lot of eyes will be on Salisbury, the football team. The Gulls are coming off their first undefeated regular season in 15 years. Harvard of the Mid-Atlantic, right, Trey?
That's right.
And even though this offseason is officially just beginning, Coach Wood and his guys already have their eyes set on the prize.
The NCAA provided 114 days between the fall and the spring to get practice or games in. So we're just taking it. Our motto, as soon as that announcement was made, was 114 days to the championship. Yeah, I tell people right now, I said, you know, I really don't know my team because we haven't been together. So this is a big step.
Drew, forever and always will be the Harvard of the Mid-Atlantic. I admit I have not said that in a long time, so you got my spirits up a little bit when you mentioned that. But out at practice and speaking with Coach Wood and the rest of the staff over at Salisbury, they are obviously excited, but you cannot begin to imagine how much work has gone into getting them to this point. So many protocols the NCAA is putting out right now that they have to adhere by, not to mention outbreaks on campus. So they are just trying to stay safe through all of this.
Yeah, it's complicated. Managing all this stuff like we talked about, not only for the healthcare things, but getting your program back in order after guys haven't been together for quite a while. You've got to get all your affairs kind of in order.
Yes.
And no better guy than Coach Wood to bring that energy, I guess, to get this team together.
That's right.
We're fired up about this team. I know we're a couple of bleeding Gulls over here.
Yes.
We got to love this as well. But yeah, I mean, it's managing the complicated parts of this is certainly the most difficult part. But I think with this team, they seem to be getting everything in order.
Yeah, Coach Wood said that in 30 years he had never had a season like this. He didn't really know what to do on Saturdays, since they have not been free like this for the last 30 years. But one thing about it, in talking with him, he is ready for this season. As you said, he's always energized. I don't know how the man does it, but he is happy to be out there, happy to get to know those kids. And I think those kids will see in the springtime that this season was worth the wait. Yeah. That's going to do it for the A block. We're taking a quick commercial break. When we come back, one of the up-and-coming football stars in the Hen Open is featured on After the Whistle. That and more when the Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
I'm Coach Taylor, Wacomico High School football, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider. Roll Tribe.